Paulo Costa versus Sean Strickland is going to be a banger of a fight, but I have to admit, when I first heard the news after UFC 300, I was a bit like, what the heck? Why are we getting this fight? Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining. It's an awesome fight, like I just told you. But shouldn't Sean Strickland be fighting somebody higher in the rankings if he's not fighting for the title? Like, Paulo Costa is ranked number 7 and Sean is ranked number 1. You're telling me that Sean couldn't challenge somebody in the top 5 like a Jarrett Cannonier who's ranked number 4? Sure, it's not a fresh matchup, but there's a story to that fight. As we all know, Jarrett beat Sean Strickland in a close split decision, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Like, if we're gonna be realistic, Paulo Costa does not deserve this type of matchup, because if he wins, he will ultimately be the number 1 contender. And I don't know how I feel about that. I say that because the dude has a history of always pulling out of fights. Like, before that Robert Whittaker fight he had recently, the last time he competed was back at 2022 against Luke Rockhold. And I'm gonna put my little tinfoil hat on, but I'm just saying that the UFC does not want Sean Strickland to get another title shot. I've been stating this for months, that he's a PR nightmare. So they're giving him someone who's ranked number 7, and they're hoping that he doesn't win, and if he does win, he doesn't benefit from it. Because in my opinion, it's extremely hard to see Sean Strickland get another title shot unless Israel Adesanya wins the belt from Dricus du Plessis, because we all know that Israel would want his redemption and he would want his rematch. So that's the only way I could probably see Sean getting another title shot. And I do believe the UFC chose this matchup because it's one of the hardest matchups for Sean. And I know it sounds a little bit laughable at first, but Paulo Costa could realistically beat Sean Strickland, and I'm not going to say it's going to happen. I just think it's going to be extremely competitive. I think it will be more competitive just by the fact that Sean Strickland doesn't do good in the back foot, and Paulo Costa is a pressure type fighter, and if you could push Sean Strickland back, then there are openings. You really can't be technical with Sean. I mean, look what he did to Israel Adesanya. But if you make it into a dogfight, you will find a lot of success. I mean, that's what Dricus did. And look, he beat Sean Strickland. But in the same time, I'm not too confident that he beats Sean. You see, Paulo Costa doesn't have punching power like Dricus does. Like, when was the last time you seen this dude knock somebody out? You have to go all the way back to that Uriah Hall fight back at 2018. And by the way, that wasn't even a knockout. That was a TKO. And there's like a huge misconception about Paulo Costa's power. You would think with all that muscle, it would translate to some type of power on the feet, but it doesn't. I mean, if you go back to that Robert Whittaker versus Paulo Costa fight, Paulo Costa threw that spinning head kick and it landed clean on Robert. And Costa still couldn't drop Robert Whittaker, man. And Robert doesn't have a good chin. And the dude couldn't even really finish an out of prime Luke Rockhold, who was like almost the age of 40, and he has no chin. And Paulo was landing clean shots on Luke time after time. I will give Costa this though. He does have good power when it comes to his legs, but when it comes to his punches, they're like pillow hands. So I might be going with Sean just because Paulo Costa really doesn't do well with straight shots. Costa likes to throw a lot of hooks and uppercuts, and that's why he gets intercepted a lot by straight shots. Like I just mentioned, the dude is just allergic to them. What can I say? And if I can be completely real with you guys, there's like a huge skill gap when it comes to the boxing between the two, because once they're both slugging it out, Sean is going to be the one that's outlanding Costa, and Sean is more defensively sound than Costa. But the thing is, Sean doesn't have knockout power either, so that's what kind of makes this fight kind of interesting. But also, this fight is a 5-round fight, and Sean has proven that he can keep that pace going for 5 rounds. And Paulo Costa, on the other hand, has all that muscle and normally starts to slow down a little bit. So I think the fight will be competitive in the first 2 rounds. But by the time we go to the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, I think Costa is going to be overwhelmed and tired, and I can realistically see Paulo Costa getting TKO'd. So yeah, my early prediction is that Sean Strickland's going to win. I'm just a little bit worried that they're not going to give him a title shot regardless. The dude just says a lot of crazy shit. What can I say? And like I mentioned earlier, the only way I realistically see him getting a title shot is if Izzy wins, because I have a hard time seeing the UFC giving someone like that a title shot. Like I mentioned, he has no filter and he's a PR nightmare. But maybe I'm wrong. In fact, I'm hoping I'm wrong. I think Sean is extremely entertaining, but in the same time, in this state of the time we're in, I don't know. I don't know if the UFC wants to go back to that as one of their potential champions, as one of their potential faces of the company. I just don't know. I mean, this is the same guy who beat up Sneeko, going on crazy Twitter rants, calling out people in the LGBT community, but in the same time, this dude is a huge draw, so I guess time will tell. And let's just say somehow Paulo Costa wins his next fight. Are we just gonna give this dude a title shot? I just don't think that's right. And I think he's gonna get folded either way from Dricus or Izzy. The dude has been dodging opponents for a long ass time, and you're telling me somehow he gets rewarded? He somehow gets a #1 ranked opponent, and if he gets this one win, I don't know. I don't think that's right, but whatever. But who do you guys think is gonna win this matchup? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys on my next one.